The stream is going active now.
Okay, I gotta go. I gotta chair a meeting. Yeah, bye. Okay, thanks. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Apparently, that's my job. That's what I was told. I'm not even organized here. Okay. A mean chair. All right, just give me 1 second. Juggling a few balls here for a minute. Okay, yeah. Sarah, would you like to start with roll call? Okay, here we go. You know, sometimes they give me like hard copy notes. You're failing me. No.
Sorry, I should have got this to you, but can you?
Is there any declaration of interest today? None? Okay. I was just handed this note. Keith McDonald, a bus driver with the Durham Region Transit since July 30th, 2018, passed away suddenly on June 3rd this year. A person of strong faith, Keith and his wife Janet, who passed away in March 2022, settled in Oshawa from the East Coast to raise their 4 children. Keith was scheduled to retire on June 19th this year, and his son indicated that he was looking forward to volunteering at local organizations to support the homeless in our community. Keith was a very caring and compassionate person and will be missed by many of his friends and colleagues. Our deepest sympathies. I need a motion to adopt the minutes of the transit meeting for June 7th. Commissioner Roy and Commissioner Anderson. Is there any questions about that? No? All in favor? Thank you. We have no delegations, no correspondence. Yeah, and a presentation, sorry. He would like to do his presentation. Thank you, General Manager Holmes.
There we go. Glad I didn't pick that first part up anyways. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the September Tech meeting. So good afternoon, Chair Crawford, Commissioners, CEO Baxter-Trahair, staff, and members of the public joining us today. I'm very pleased to be with you here as we continue to work to advance DRT and public transit in Durham. First, I want to start by introducing Chris Hornberg. Chris is the new Deputy General Manager of Business Services, and he joins us from the City of Toronto. He's been with us for almost 2 months now, I believe, and we're really excited for him to be leading a number of key initiatives for us, including electric infrastructure and equipment as part of our fleet electrification plan, negotiation of a multi-year UPass agreement with our post-secondary institution partners, and other innovation programs that will support our growth and development of DRT services. So let me start by saying our summer recess period for DRT was fairly quiet. No, it was not. We'll have more to say on that a little later, but first off, I wanted to ask Zephy Osama Fakoladi, our Program Manager of Engagement and Change, to provide you with a brief overview of what our summer engagement activities were. And as you know, we implemented our DRT engagement plan with our ambassadors this year as a way of engaging face-to-face with our customers, providing information, supporting change, and as well as promoting DRT across our region. So I'll turn it over to Zephy.
Thank you, Bill. Standing on existing protocol. Next slide, please. As you can tell from the long list of items on my slide, the DRT engagement and change team has had a very busy but exciting summer. The summer kicked off with the onboarding of the ambassador team and quickly ramped up. To provide a realistic scenario as possible, DRT provided charter services as part of long-term care's emergency social services evacuation drill. In partnership with the CAO's office, DRT also provided charter services for the attendees of the Intelligent Communities Conference. We received great feedback from all organizers, and Participants. The Charter Service for the Intelligent Communities Conference opened a new opportunity, which is allowing DRT provide charter service for the resumption of the upcoming OPG Community Power Expo by providing tours of the OPG Darlington refurbishment site to the residents of Durham and beyond. From an external lens, we met with our youngest community members yet and future public transit riders at the Pride Learning Centers in Ajax. We met with 26 children in the infant, toddler, and preschool program. Next slide, please.
Round and round, the wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. The driver on the bus says, move on back, move on back, move on back. The driver on the bus says, move on back, all through the town. The horn on the bus goes, horn on the bus The horn on the bus goes, yes, all through the town.
Next slide, please. So we sang Wheels on the Bus with them and provided them with take-home packages with information on DRT services, especially the bus service to the zoo. The team attended and provided an overview on how to use transit at a seniors forum hosted by MPP Lauren Coe and Honorable Raymond Cho to over 40 people. Regional Councilor Shahid provided an opportunity to demonstrate DRT's bus accessibility features and provide transit route information at Masjid-e-Aisha. We also got the opportunity to truly engage with the community in a game of pickup basketball. Next slide, please. As Ambassador Ashton Paul is seen doing here, as well as discuss what it feels like to drive a bus while playing a game of hot potato. Next slide, please. As shown in the picture with Operations Supervisor Kristen Peters. There is also a photo of Regional Councilor Shahid with Ambassadors Chris Baker and Kimiko Waffle. We met with the Brain Injury Association of Durham and Durham Region Stroke Recovery Group to discuss DRT's integrated services model. Next slide, please. Thanks to Commissioner Garrard, Christopher Norris, DGM Operations, also attended Transit Talk at Uxbridge 105.5 FM and provided an update to the community on DRT's on-demand service. Next slide, please. In collaboration with the region's DEI team and social services, DRT participated in and provided transportation to over 100 newcomers to the region, enabling them to participate in the region's Emancipation Day celebration, signifying liberation, legacy, and progress. In the words of the organizers, the Emancipation Bus was used to bring joy to many newcomers who would have been otherwise unable to attend the event. It gave them the opportunity to see what liberation can mean and offer them a hope of a brighter future. We also delivered one-to-one travel training to members of our community, including the newcomers and participants of the Project Search pilot program, making them more comfortable and confident in taking public transit. Next slide, please. To ease the back-to-school transition, we attended post-secondary orientation events, collaborating with Metrolinx, and provided travel information for high schools with bus routes. Internally, we provided an overview of DRT's integrated services model to staff that deliver the region's Healthy Family Program. Finally, next slide, please. The ambassadors had a great afternoon with staff members for the Human Resources team by showcasing the transit system from the lens of a passenger, an operator, an operations supervisor, a mechanic, a service person, and an operations clerk. This allowed our regional HR team to further appreciate and understand the complexities of a 24/7 transit operation. Thank you for the opportunity, Bill.
The ambassador program is new. As Zephy said, we just brought them on in June. As you can see, it's a very busy time and their participation across our community. Next slide, please. So as you'll see in this month's GM information report, we implemented several service enhancements yesterday in consideration of our social equity guidelines, increasing post-secondary travel, and new conventional service as part of the ridership recovery plan. For example, in Pickering, the 103 and the Finch and Altona area and 112 midday expansion to Seaton. In Ajax, an increased frequency for the 216. In Whitby, the new 301 in West Whitby and 319 midday expansion on Garden and Anderson. In Oshawa, the new 421 connecting Curtis to the Oshawa GO station. In Clarington, the new 507 connecting Bowmanville, Newcastle, and Orono. And in Brock, Uxbridge, and Scugog and rural areas, increased on-demand capacity. We're also really proud of our recently standardization of waste management across all DRT bus stops, resulting in a reduction of our operating expenses, while also generating additional revenue for DRT in the region. As you know, our customers have expressed concern with the integration of on-demand response services into a single on-demand service, particularly customers registered with Specialized Transit. A separate information report is included in your agenda today, and we're very pleased to see that travel by active Specialized Transit customers has returned to pre-COVID levels, very similar to what we've experienced on the conventional side of our services. The region and our province continue to experience unprecedented levels of homelessness and vulnerable individuals in the communities we serve. Increasingly, many of these individuals are interacting with transit on a daily basis, and at times, DRT experiences challenges to maintain our service and to provide unobstructed access to our bus stops and shelters for transit customers. We're very pleased to have partnered with our social services team on an innovative pilot to fund the equivalent of 2 outreach workers through their social services outreach program that will assist individuals who are interacting or accessing transit. We'll be evaluating the effectiveness of this pilot through the fall in consideration of potential permanent funding through the 2024 budget process. And on a similar note, we have recently collaborated with social services in the town of Whitby to establish a process to support residents who are living in bus shelters or using the shelter to store their belongings. It's important that we support members of our community while ensuring bus shelters and stops are available for their intended use by transit riders. We've also reached out to the other Lakeshore municipalities to identify contacts so we can implement a similar process in those locations as well. In September, we launched the new on-demand platform provided by VIA in response to actions from previous tech minutes. There's two new metrics that are available to us to better understand overall service demand. As you recall, in the past, it was difficult for us to understand total demand requests, but the new system does provide that to us. And the metrics are a seat unavailable metric that indicates when trips cannot be offered near the requested time, or in other words, when our capacity is full. And this will allow us to indicate the unmet demand and will be used to adjust or enhance vehicle and capacity allocations and service hours across the region. There's also the customer rejected or unaccepted proposal. And this indicates a situation where there is a solution available, but the customer chooses not to accept it. And at times we know customers will make multiple trip requests and try to pick the best one. This will be most useful for us as an indicator to evaluate the quality of the trip offerings that we're providing for our customers. As we've previously heard from delegations to this committee and as staff have reported, last-minute changes to GO train schedules impact shared customers of DRT and GO. DRT requires a minimum of 2 months' notice of changes to be able to adjust our bus schedules to connect with arriving or departing GO trains. Unfortunately, this fall, customers will experience longer wait times at the stations as a result of significant shifts to GO train schedules. There's no doubt that these schedule changes are needed to support the various GO Rail projects that will benefit residents in the long term. In the interim, we will be reviewing potential temporary options for this fall, but likely schedules will not be able to be adjusted until December of this year. In our experience, the pre-pandemic GO train service that ran every 15 minutes really mitigated any of those shifts, either to GO train schedules or to DRT schedules. And we're really looking forward to Metrolinx and the GO train returning to those pre-pandemic service levels so that, to mitigate customer impacts and to really encourage the public to use DRT and GO. I also wanted to highlight to you today our Specialized Transit Information Report. There continues to be ongoing questions and perceptions in our community that DRT is not delivering appropriate specialized public transit service. As you know, the Integrated Accessibility Standard of the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Act, or AODA as we know it, mandates the requirements for specialized public transit in Ontario. DRT has diligently adopted these standards over the past 5 to 7 years, And yes, specialized transit is different in 2023 than it was in the 1990s and the 2000s. As always, staff are committed to implementing direction provided by tech, and we hope this information report clarifies any unanswered questions that remain about how DRT services specialized transit is delivered in 2023. On-demand, including specialized transit, is a shared ride public transit service available to all eligible customers. DRT and an increasing number of public transit agencies have or are in the process of integrating demand response services into a single service like we have done. At DRT, we call it on-demand. To maximize capacity and deliver service for as many customers as possible within our resources, all DRT on-demand trips may be shared with multiple customers. As a shared ride service, some variability in pickup and drop-off time is expected, as customer trip requests are scheduled in real time and may be incorporated on a vehicle with an ongoing trip. For specialized transit trips, we observe a drop-off or pickup window of 20 minutes to accommodate variability in traffic and other operational delays. As a public transit provider, DRT is prohibited to prioritize access to services, including factors such as trip purpose, customer abilities, or destination. The Integrated Accessibility Standard prohibits a service provider to implement a policy or operational practice that limits the availability of specialized transportation service to persons with disabilities. Reserving capacity or access to prioritize service for a person, a group, or trip purpose is inconsistent with the Integrated Accessibility Standard and a violation of the AODA. There are members of our community whose individual or family travel needs exceed the transportation services provided by public transit and DRT. And these transit needs are no less important than the travel needs of others. Solutions may be available, and they would generally be funded and delivered separately from public transit services. There are a few examples out there in our community of these types of transit services that are provided by or for senior centers and organizations, preschools, and other private sector organizations. Now I will turn our attention to the fire at Raleigh. As you know, we had a significant fire event at Oshawa location in the early morning of August 16th. We are most thankful that the DRT staff working at the time were not injured in that fire, which did destroy 3 bus bays. It destroyed 19 12-meter buses and significantly damaged the adjacent facilities. As you know, DRT staff were exceptionally resilient through the past 3 weeks in their commitment to continuing to deliver public transit for our residents. Between 2:30 a.m. and 5 a.m., our planning and scheduling team put together the interim service plan. The operations and maintenance team engaged their staff to assemble and work from the DRT depot in Ajax. Over the next week and a half, all DRT staff did what was needed to be done in support of staff and customers, such as being present at key stations and terminals, maintenance staff sharing their personal tools and devices with their peers who were displaced from Oshawa, and the many employees who jumped in and took on roles and responsibilities that had to be completed. We truly regret that we were unable to deliver the full planned service in place at the time, but staff were simply amazing in providing services for 92% of DRT customers with basically half the fleet. I'm going to share just a couple pictures for those not familiar with the Oshawa site, just to put into context what it looked like. If you can go to the preceding picture, there we go. So this picture is taken from the east side, looking westwards towards Farewell. And you can see where the crane is. Those are the 3 bays that were lost in the fire, and that's the area that housed the 19 buses. Just to the left of that was the main administration building, which also sustained significant damage. Just to the right are 3 bays in the middle. They have been impacted, and we're awaiting confirmation of what has to be done to bring those back. And the furthest 3 bays to the north of the property, or the right of the picture, they weren't damaged from a structural perspective, but there are systems that we need to have installed and updated, replaced, to meet the requirements of Oshawa and Oshawa Fire Services before we can occupy that area. Next slide, please. So the picture on the left here, this is just an example of one of the damaged buses, of what's left. So we refer to these as our bus carcasses, and they were taken away last week on a flatbed. The picture to the right was taken last week as well, and it shows you an area of where the 3 bays were destroyed and the ongoing cleanup work that was happening last week. just want you to know that we have recovered, and we're delivering the service enhancements that we planned to be implemented yesterday. But to be honest, it is tight right now. We're meeting service requirements, and we're winning so far. But we do have a long ways to go. We do know that the TTC buses are on loan for 30 days. It added an extra 10 buses out of the 19 for us. We're really working diligently to lease some short-term buses and get the 19 replacements ordered. But we do expect there's still going to be bumps along the road as we're moving through the fall. And we will definitely ensure that, again, one of the key items that I'm really proud of is that we communicated very well to our customers in real time and kept everyone updated. We'll make sure that we do that through the fall so that there's no surprises. There's a number of items that still have to happen at the site in terms of temporary infrastructure, installation of Wi-Fi connection points, as I mentioned, the fleet replacement, and then actually rebuilding the site. So there's lots of work to go. But again, as you can appreciate, staff did an amazing job at getting us to this point, and we'll make sure that you're informed as we're moving forward, as we're addressing those ongoing and interim issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a speakers list. Commissioner Brenner?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Super. I want to first thank the general manager and the staff. Their response to the fire was just nothing short of amazing in terms of communication, and especially the advanced information on the, I'll call it the TTC bailout, which certainly has been a help to us. I do have a couple of questions regarding going forward pertaining to our bus replacement, and then also a question regarding the specialized services. If I can, I'll start first with the specialized services. Bill, have we had any input or discussion on some of the changes that we're doing with our Accessibility Advisory Committee from Durham Region?
Thank you, Ed. And through the chair, throughout our entire process as we've evolved our service, we've really relied on that engagement with our Transit Advisory Committee through the past number of years to inform them of what our plans were, gather input for us for consideration. And as always, Transit Advisory Committee have that direct connection through to TEC in terms of recommendations. But to answer your question, we've been very diligently at our meetings of keeping them informed of how we are evolving the transit service here in Durham.
The group actually I'm referring is the Durham Regional Accessibility Advisory Committee, which is a much broader mandate, but certainly is in touch with accessibility needs across the region, including older adults. So I know it wouldn't, I'm not sure if it would be the norm or not, but do we have any kind of a relationship with our Accessibility Advisory Committee from the region, which would then also by way of connectivity, connects with the lower tier municipalities that all have accessibility advisory committees? And if we haven't, can we look at that?
So through the chair, actually 2 members of TAC, of the Transit Advisory Committee, come from the Region's Accessible Advisory Committee. So there is a direct link and relationship between our Transit Advisory Committee and the Region's Accessibility Committee. And we also, at times, we go to the Region's Accessibility Committee to talk about our service as a way of supporting our TAC members as well. So very strong connection there. As well, and through the Region's Accessibility Committee, we do maintain strong relationships with our regional local municipality accessibility coordinators. I know in the past we've met with them on a regular basis. We've invited them to annual discussions to talk about DRT services, and I hope they know that they have a standing offer that at any time they would like to invite us to one of their meetings, we're more than pleased to attend, as we've done in several municipalities across the region in the past few years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And as a member of the Pickering Advisory Committee on Accessibility, I'll certainly relay that to them. And thank you so much. On the bus replacement program, I think you said that we have the TTC buses for up to 30 days, and we're looking at other options in terms of leasing and then also a replacement for the 19 vehicles. With the leasing component, what is the likelihood, given the turnaround time for shortages of the turnaround time, which is lengthy for replacement of buses, as we already know, What do you see as that prospect? Do you think we'll be able to have something in place at the 30-day mark when TTC probably is going to pull out their ability to provide us with those 10 buses, let alone the 19?
Thank you. And I'm going to ask our Deputy General Manager of Maintenance, Audra McKinley, if she can respond to that question. Thank you.
Thank you, through the chair. So we do have buses from the TTC currently. They will be returning back to TTC at the end of September, about the 22nd is my understanding. Although we did have a quick turnaround on receiving those as just a temporary stopgap to help us out. The lease buses is going to take a little bit longer. The market right now is certainly unfortunate for us, not flooded with availability of these buses. However, we are in talks with a couple of vendors in the GTHA who do have some buses that are available to go into refurbishment. They're not available for immediate service, so they would have to go through a refurbishment program. And then we're also reaching out to a few other transit agencies that have buses they're decommissioning to see if there's an option there. So the short answer is they're not going to be available at the end of October. However, we are working on it now, or sorry, at the end of September. However, we are working on it now, and we expect to have them in place as soon as the vendors are able to make them available.
Recognizing then that there is going to be a delay, obviously it's going to have an impact in terms of our ability, the services that we put in place to be able to address return to school, return to work following Labor Day, which was critical to us. Is there an opportunity to plead with TTC for an extension?
Back through the chair. We will have discussion with TTC to see if that is an option. However, the buses that they did temporarily loan to us are buses from their current fleet that they were using in service. Given the small number that they were able to spare, although we'll have discussions with them, I would not be overly hopeful that that is an option.
Any chances that we had discussions with the Region of York and their transit provider? They have both I remember, I think they have public transit, they also have contracted transit.
Correct. York does have contracted transit. We have had discussions with a number of other transit agencies in the area, many similar to DRT in the fact that they had the spare ratio to run their own fleets, and they don't usually have a large contingency to be able to spare additional buses to come into other fleets for any period of time. So although, I mean, we always do continue to look, and if there's an opportunity, we would certainly try to increase that number so that we have a shorter gap in time between now and the lease buses arriving.
So operating on the assumption that the 30 days with TTC will probably come to an end without, we'll say maybe a further, I don't know, however long it takes to get the lease buses. Can we put out a communication ahead of time, which allows our customers to plan well in advance to look for other options, saying that there is a likelihood of what we're going to return to, unfortunately, and to give them lead time? And I know we've done a great job with communication up until now, so that's not an issue, but I think giving them lead time to begin to look at other ways of being able to make up for whatever those routes that are going to be affected, I think is a good way to go to inform our customers who depend on us.
Thank you for that, and we will take that into consideration as we're developing that communication plan and service plan if we do need to implement changes. Thank you for that. And
final question, and thank you for all that you've been doing in terms of a very unfortunate, tragic situation with our fire. With the long-term replacement, where we're looking at obviously not just the leasing, but the long-term purchasing, do you see this as an opportunity to, I guess, to escalate the purchase of EV buses versus traditional diesel buses?
So at this point, we are evaluating what that looks like. Again, getting the electric buses is generally the easier part, even though it does take some time to get them. The challenge comes in the electrical infrastructure and charging equipment and the space needed to house that and get that in place. Unfortunately, at this point in time, given the last-minute nature, we were just heading down the path of our electrification program and looking for the receipt of our first buses in 2025. It's unlikely that we'll be able to accelerate that plan. by shifting these 19 to electric right away. We will do what we can do to maximize that, but at this point in time, I would doubt that we would have the infrastructure requirements to support those buses when they arrived.
So for the long term of replacements of the 19, I'm going to assume that we're looking more for refurbished buses or used buses, since the likelihood of getting new buses that are not that given the shortages that are out there and the changes in terms of platforms may be very challenging and very difficult.
Thank you. Through the chair, once we understand from the insurance perspective, we'll then be able to put together what our plan for replacement of those 19 buses will be. We just haven't received that information yet.
Thank you so much, Mr. Holmes. And again, thank you to your staff. And I really do appreciate the updates that you've been providing us. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner and Vice Chair Schumer? We can't hear you. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I also want to express my thanks that nobody sustained any injuries. We lost some hard assets, but it could have been worse. And I think Councillor Brenner addressed a number of my questions, but I guess the last one with respect to insurance. And obviously, we're incurring some costs here that obviously we did not anticipate. And I'm not talking about the obvious fire damage costs, but more so the costs that we may incur for temporary replacement buses and what have you. Do we know how much of these costs are going to be covered through any kind of insurance, or are we looking at any kind of substantial budget hit here?
Thank you. I know Commissioner Taylor's on the line, and I'll ask her if she has any comments on that. I do know that we are diligently monitoring, tracking, et cetera, any of the expenses that we have moving forward. But Commissioner Taylor, do you have more information you could share on the insurance side? We can't hear you. Sorry.
You'll have to press the speaker button to activate your mic.
Thank you. Is that better? Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to clarify or add, for claims of this shared magnitude of dollar value and complexity, it will likely take us several years to resolve all issues around the claim. We will certainly we'll certainly get significant amounts up front, but the final settlement of things that could be arguable, for example, like some of the items that you were mentioning, we may end up negotiating settlement for those further down the road. Our focus will be to get the buses that we require replaced and the building back into the right condition as fast as possible. And then the final settlement of this may follow. What we do have in place and have been in place for a while for exactly these kinds of things, of course, is an insurance reserve that will hopefully cover any stop gaps or any shortfalls when we get to the end of this process. And if we haven't been able to recover everything, then that's what we will do to alleviate any impact on ratepayers pertaining to this incident.
Okay, so I think that pretty much answers it. So anything that isn't covered immediately, we'll draw from that reserve. And then should we be reimbursed by the insurance policy, then it'll go back in to replenish that reserve.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I guess my next question to the general manager, with respect to the new metrics through the on-demand system, can you give us a rundown? I don't think I heard a detailed kind of listing of what are the new metrics, all the new metrics that we're going to track for on demand. And I asked this because there's been a number of occasions on the past where I've asked, are we tracking, the failed trips, the various aspects of on demand that we haven't really seen stats for before, but what all will we be seeing in the future? And I presume that we won't have comparatives for at least a year.
Thank you. And through the chair, I am going to ask Christopher and his team if they have more specifics. We've only had a day of service in terms of what's it look like and what's it feel like. But there are two measures as indicated in the report, two new additional measures. One which specifically addresses that issue of, I believe as has been explained before, someone puts in looking for a trip, they don't like what they've got, but we don't have the data that they just canceled and couldn't get that trip accommodated. And there is a measure that is specifically addressing that so that we'll know when there's a trip request, and we haven't been able to meet that because we were at capacity. And there is the second metric as well. So there's just the two that are outlined in the GM report that will be in addition to what the previous system had. Christopher, are we able to give a sense of what did we see yesterday and from those two metrics, and recognize it's going to take a while to understand what the full story is?
Through the chair, yes. We've been fully operational since Monday with VIA. So we've got 2 days worth of metrics. So there isn't, Commissioner Schumer, you're absolutely right. It's going to take us about a year to be able to have like for like comparison. So with respect to what General Manager Holmes indicated with regards to what happened yesterday with respect to met demand, so the number of requests the proportion of ride requests that were met with a ride proposal was 96.6%. So 96.6% of our customers that interacted through the app or called us through our phone line got a solution within their acceptable time frame. About 25% of those did not accept their proposal. And that also includes our tool enhancements on our app now that did not exist before. So prior, it was purely an on-demand. Now you have an interaction where you'll be able to plan your entire trip with a scheduled service as well. So if the on-demand isn't available during the day in a part of the region and you can access the scheduled service, it will point you towards that there. Or if you're out north in Brock Township, of course, you'll get the on-demand solutions that are available to you at the time based on the parameters that you've provided. What the VIA software also provides us is some modeling that we didn't have access to in the past. So General Manager Holmes talked about reallocating capacity based on demand and also on met demand. So we're able, the tool now offers us some opportunity to be able to model and forecast a bit and look how to most effectively use the capacity that we have at hand now to meet the demand that we have and anticipated changes in demand. And that's a tool that we did not have access to prior.
Okay. And in the event of a proposed trip, I guess I'll say failing or declined by DRT, we'll see the statistics on why those trips had to be refused or why they failed.
Through the chair, we'll be able to provide you with insight on why or how many trips were, but from a perspective of why an individual refused the trip or they may have canceled that trip and rebooked it, we may or may not be able to do that. That's something that the team is looking at and working with the vendor with at this point.
Okay, and would the only reason that DRT would I'm going to use the phrase refuse the trip. I know that doesn't sound very good, but the only reason that we would essentially refuse it would be a capacity issue. Is that correct?
Through the chair, where a trip is not available based on the parameters that a customer has put in, if it's a valid on-demand trip, yes, it would be most likely related to capacity, available seats on the network.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see anyone else on the speakers list. Oh, you're there now. You just came on. No, you were not. No, you were not. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, and thank you very much for the update and presentation, and thank you for your efforts in bring back some normalcy after the fire. But most of my questions were asked by Commissioner Brennan and Commissioner Schumer, but I'll ask a couple as it relates to Clarendon. The 507 that runs, is it hourly? And it runs from?
Through the chair, yes, Route 507 runs hourly during the AM peak and the PM peak on weekdays from Orono into Newcastle into Bowmanville.
And how has the response been? I know it's not well advertised because very few people know about the service that exists currently.
Through the chair, we have 1 day of operation on that route. I think the data that we have is about a dozen or so boardings on spread out on those 6 trips. I think in the past we look at developing the market for the service over a 6-month period. And the other part that we need to keep into consideration is that some of that is into lower density areas of the region, into some of the rural areas of the region. So yes, uptake may be slow, but the schedule and the service was developed based on the interaction through the survey we had in Newcastle and that extended area, and also based on the data we had through the on-demand application.
So thank you for that. I hope they ask for it. I hope they use it and encourage others to use it. I know I spoke to some members of your staff, and you're going to do some promotion on the weekend at the Orono Fair. So we have an event coming up that everybody knows about throughout probably all of Durham region, and it's Applefest. And that's supposed to be October 14th. All of Clarendon is usually there, and all of Durham region for that matter and beyond. So that would be a good opportunity to do some promotion of this as well.
Thank you for that suggestion. We'll take that away.
Okay. So again, thank you for bringing the service there, for the vocal few that kept asking for it for a number of months, number of years. So hopefully they use it and they keep it or they lose it. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope they use it as well.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, I have a question. The GO Train, Metrolinx, and their lack of communication. This is not the first time this has happened, and it certainly isn't the first time we've communicated how much time we need. I mean, giving notice over a long weekend is unacceptable. We cannot wear this. How are we telling our customers, because they will be affected, and they'll want to blame us. And how, if I had this form of communication in any of the jobs that I had, I would be fired. How do they get away with this?
Through the chair, what I can respond in terms of your question is, you're correct, this isn't the first time. We continue to have discussions with our counterparts at Metrolinx and in the planning side to ensure they're aware that 2-month notice is required. And if it's not, it does have an impact on our shared customers and public transit use in general, specifically interregional travel. So we continue to advocate, promote that information to our colleagues. And continue to escalate that up. We do have a commitment from them that given the most recent situation, which we talked with them about last week, that they've committed again to sit down with us in the near future with our planning team to make sure that we are completely aligned on timing and communication. So we'll keep you updated on how those conversations go. In terms of impact, we included the information in the tech report today for the reason that we do want our customers to be aware of the impacts in advance to just experiencing it. And we will provide links through our customer service to our report and remind everyone that of what we can and can't do in our partnership. So while we won't go out and communicate actively around this issue, we will make sure that we share the information that we presented to Tech today in our report in terms of the impacts that they can expect as a result of this unfortunate situation.
If I'm not mistaken, the last time this happened, we had that very same conversation with them when they canceled routes. So good that they were listening. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions? No? Okay, thank you. All right, we have no delegations, no correspondence. Can I get a motion to move reports 1 through 4 on 7? Commissioner Garrett and Commissioner Anderson seconding. And is there any polls on any of these reports? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry about that. Commissioner Carter, go ahead.
Poll 7.1.
Is there any others? Okay. I think you need to put your request to speak back on, Commissioner Carter. Huh? Oh, can we vote on the 2, 3, and 4? All in favor? Great, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Carter?
So good afternoon, Madam Chair. I hope you had a great summer, and to my colleagues, I hope you had a good summer also. Madam Chair, I don't know if you need me to move this report, but I'm willing to move the report. Just a couple of questions in regards to it.
Go ahead with your questions. We already have it moved.
Okay, great. Just to Mr. Holmes, thank you very much for the opportunity to chat with you. I'm referring to page 21 of 56 in regards to your report. It is item 5, pilot to evaluate effectiveness of the new social services outreach program in support of homeless and vulnerable individuals interacting with specificity with Durham Regional Transit. Just wondering if you give me an opportunity to better understand how that's going to work. Will that be a communication between the operator if there's an incident on one of the buses or at a bus shelter, and they would notify one of the outreach workers to be able to assist them?
Thank you. And through the chair, there could be a multitude of ways that this program gets leveraged. We do experience regularly individuals on the bus who are riding the bus for prolonged periods of time that need support. We have individuals taking up residence in bus shelters, storing information in bus shelters, other interactions with our bus operators as well across the service. And we're working through what that process of communication would be between what a bus operator is observing and then the support required behind coming from social services. So we're just working through that process now. The intent would be that social services would be available in a timely manner to be able to support us and support the individual to help direct them to the services that they require and assist our staff as well in dealing with these difficult situations.
Mr. Holmes, is there another service across the country that's got this model in place at this particular time?
I do know that Edmonton is looking at a very similar process in leveraging social services capacity versus enforcement capacity as a way of addressing this issue. And I do know others as well. The TTC and others are turning their attention to support from social services professionals versus enforcement and supporting the transit agencies.
So am I hearing that we're going to be a leader once again in regards to this type of program, working with our social services department and Durham Regional Transit?
Yes, we are at the forefront, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to lead you down that path, right? So make sure that everybody knew that you were a leader. So I just think it's a great initiative, and I'd like to hear more about the program as it's rolled out and see how those interactions happen and how it benefits those individuals, how we get those individuals the support that they need. So that's really great news. And what's the anticipated start? Is this going to start this year?
Through the chair, yes. I know the social services outreach program are currently in the recruitment phase. I believe there's an expectation that it will be launched in October. So we
Yeah.
will be then leveraging it hopefully by the end of this year so that we can do an evaluation on its effectiveness before we come forward with permanent funding.
Great. I look forward to that report. The last thing I just want to give you a compliment to is I noticed now that we have waste receptacles at our stops. I know that was something that was worked on in regards to getting somebody to look after them, advertising and everything else. I just want to say thank you very much. I think it's going to make a significant difference in regards to the cleanliness of our shelters, and I just want to pass on my appreciation to your team. So on both notes, great job, well done, and I'm really proud about this pilot program with social services. It just shows a great working relationship with our inner departments, but it also shows that we're leading the way in regards to the most complex health issue that Canada's ever faced. So I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to you and your team. Madam Chair, that's all my questions and my comments in regards to it, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you. I wasn't going to pull this, but since it's pulled, I'll ask a question. The youth bus pass for Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, are they the only school board that currently has this program?
So the bulk youth bus pass is available to all school boards and transportation services in the region. The Kawartha board, I believe, was the only board that pre-purchased passes in advance of September. It's my understanding that the other boards and schools, once September starts, they generally reach out at that time. But Kawartha was the board that reached out in advance that enabled us to put things in motion.
Okay, just as a follow-up, and I believe you've answered that. So all the school boards are aware that this opportunity exists?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem. Any other questions? If none, we have no advisory. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, we need it all in favor. Sorry, all in favor on that report. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry about that. No confidential matters. Is there any other business? Seeing none. The next meeting is October the 4th. I need a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Gerard. All in favor? Did I get it right? Gerard. Sorry. And when you smile, I know I don't. Thank you. What?